Here. VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 742, recorded on January 23rd, 2025.
Hello, and welcome to the 742nd edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 575th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I'm TJ Denzer.
I'm Scott Dirk.
I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm incredibly jet-lagged. I literally just got off a plane from Oslo, Norway, like 3 hours ago.
That's quite the trip.
Yeah.
You're quite a traveler now, aren't you?
A little bit.
Yeah, as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, well, then you'll just have to imagine it. My facial hair is nice and trimmed because I found my beard trimmer. No idea where it went, so I was starting to look like Sigmund Freud for a while. But now, and the thing is that this had to get fixed so I could color it. See? So now it looks normal, and now it looks like I can do my headshots.
Yeah, looks good and clean.
Yeah, so, TJ, Scott, first TJ, what have you been playing?
I can actually say a little bit about it, but not much. I played an early build of Dune Awakening from Funcom.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be able to talk about that more next week. But for now, I can't tell you that was what I was doing in Norway. And I can say that because they said it too. They posted it on social media. So not breaking any embargoes by saying that. I was in Norway to check out Dune Awakening.
Cool. How about you, Scott? What have you been playing?
I've been playing a game, Icon Class. It came out, I forgot what year, but it came out a couple of years ago. And it's a platformer game where you're using a wrench and a gun to, it's a Metroidvania game. And it's a silent protagonist. I didn't realize that she was silent, but yeah, she's a silent protagonist. And it's just a fun game because I'm waiting for all these RPGs that are going to start coming next month. Like Avowed and Trials of Daybreak. And
there's going to be a lot of stuff highlighted by Avowed, which is in a few weeks.
Yeah. And like I said, Trials of Daybreak. And then there's the Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters, Lunar remasters. There's Dragon's Quest 1 and 2 remaster. And then there's a DLC for Chained Echoes, Sea of Stars, and Iudian that we're also waiting for. So
there's another turn-based role-playing game that's popping up. We'll talk about it later and see if you're interested in playing that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been playing much. I tried out Strive, which has been in development for 14 years by some guys who really like Spore, and they want to recreate Spore. But right now, the only thing they've been doing is the opening thing in which you're a multicellular organism. They get really technical with it, and the problem is sometimes I'll start dying, and I'll say, wait a minute, aren't I supposed to be converting iron into ATP or glucose into and it's not happening? So a lot of it is just me confused by how it's going. They need to make it simpler, but then again, it is in early access for 15 years, apparently. But there's some stuff that just came out, which I might try. But anyways, we're going to go to the quick news. And we touched on this last week. And Nintendo revealed their Switch 2 teaser video. So if we recall, we saw the mock-up. And it was basically just a plain white version of what they actually released. So, judging from the teaser video, what did you think?
It's like a slightly bigger Switch, and there looks like the Joy-Cons are magnetically connected to the system, which is interesting. Because I had trouble with it when I first got the Switch. The Joy-Cons, I guess, weren't adjusted right or something because they would be very hard to put on. And when I got them replaced and got new ones, they slid on correctly. So I think this magnetic one will be a better connector. I don't know how secure they'll be, because I know magnetic connection, you could just pull it right off, and I think they're going to get yanked off and probably broken, because I think that little tab is very tiny. So I think I'll be playing this in docked mode a lot. I mean, I already do, but still. But I'm interested in getting this, and just I guess it'll be like an upgraded Switch, and we'll see how. And the majority of the games are backwards compatible, so that'll be a good thing.
They made a big deal about a lot of its like it has a USB-C port for one. They took time to show that. They really fondled the analog sticks, so they're probably bragging there's something better about that as well.
Yeah, I hope they don't drift as much as they were drifting. That was really annoying.
Yeah. Also, something that could be caught from the video, which people might not have caught, it's actually doing volumetric lighting.
Yeah, and was that Mario Kart? They're making a new Mario Kart for this, which seemed like an easy bet, anyways. But like one of the things that people pointed out was that in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you can have 8 racers in at one time. We counted 24 racer slots on the starting line, and that is going to be chaos. I can't imagine that many shells and bananas and lightning and all that shit flying around in that race, but I'm interested to see how it works out.
Well, we have to remind Nintendo, if you're going to have 24, you can't expect 24 people to huddle around a Switch 2. I am hoping this means you're going to beef up their online.
Yeah, hopefully. I guess that's what they've been learning with Microsoft, is how to do better online services for the online games, or co-op games. But I mean, it does look interesting, and want to see. I guess I don't think I'll get it like day one. I would wait to see how things develop on it, what games they have on there, and just get a little bit better of an idea of what they're going to put on the system.
Did it always have a kickstand, or is that new?
Yeah, it does. It has it's a smaller one. So this one's much larger. It goes along the whole entire system.
Yeah,
what they have currently is this little tab that's like the size of your finger that sticks out and will hold it up, but it's probably very easily breakable. I've never used it, but I imagine it's very.
They made this big. It's a U shape. It's
Yeah, this looks a lot more sturdier.
And yeah, I mean they made a big play of the way it snaps together, so it probably does have magnetic what's it called, controllers.
Yeah. I guess the controllers they're differently configured, I guess, because that might cause issues with the because I think the games that aren't going to work is the one with the Labo, I've heard, and maybe Fitbit.
Cares about the Labo, for crying out.
That's what I'm saying. It's like nobody cares, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no one cared when it first came. Only a few people cared, and that's only because they were Nintendo fans. They thought this might be something good. I mean, cardboard. Hey.
Yeah. But
isn't cardboard great?
Yeah, there might be additional differences with these new Joy-Cons. We'll have to, like I said, wait and see. I just don't want them drifting as bad as they were, so you'd get them and they'd start drifting almost right away. It's crazy.
Could you use Pro controllers with the Switch?
Yeah, you can use Pro controllers.
They didn't do away, by the way, with that headphone jack, right? They kept the headphone jack next to the USB-C. So they're not going too far. I'm wondering if they're going to allow you to attach a controller to that, because the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox both use a USB-C, right? So it's
probably will, but you could also, with the docking station, there's USB ports where you could plug in your controllers and use them that way.
It'll be interesting. Anyways, next teaser, and this is strictly for Scott. Scott, how do you like the Hello Kitty and Friends DLC for Minecraft?
I don't give a fuck.
Really? You don't
Really.
like? You
Did
don't?
you think
You
I
don't like
cared?
Hello Kitty?
I can't listen. I play Java, so I can't access any of these Microsoft
Really?
Mojang stuff. I can't. I can't. None of them. I can't play any of the Star Wars stuff or the
Aw.
China or Japan stuff or any of it. I can't access any of that because that's for the Windows version of Minecraft, and you have to pay for that crap. And I'm on Java, so I do anything.
You still get
Java.
those animals, right? You still get the pigs and the.
Oh yeah, those. Yeah, that's for vanilla Minecraft. So yeah, I'll get that. I'll get those updates I get, but not the store stuff that's in the Microsoft Store. No, I don't get those.
Okay.
Those are on Java.
Oh, you don't get to play with Hello Kitty?
No.
Anyways, let's talk about what happened today, and that is the Microsoft Direct. 4 games were shown, and I was wrong, but not too wrong. I should have used my brain case. I had assumed that the hidden. So there were 4 games that were going to be shown, although it turned out to be 5 technically. We already knew what 3 of them were, and the other was a big mystery. And I assumed it would be Final Fantasy 7 and 16 for the Xbox. Instead, it was with Koei Tecmo, and they showed off Ninja Gaiden 4. So, what were your impressions there, TJ, of Ninja Gaiden 4?
Exciting! I was so thrilled to see Ragebound announced at the Game Awards last year as a 2D Ninja Gaiden fan, and I thought for certain that I felt like we were gonna get a 3D Ninja Gaiden, but I couldn't have possibly guessed that it was going to be coming in 2025, the same year as the 2D one. They put a fall 2025 release window on this, and it's Platinum helping develop this time.
They had the Team Ninja logo, but it was developed by Platinum, and we know Platinum is very good at 3D action games and Devil May Cry, but they're still sticking with the action that you'd find in Ninja Gaiden. They're not like, oh, we're going to turn Ninja Gaiden into Devil May Cry. No, it's still Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, so extremely excited. The action looked slick, and it looked like something that 3D fans want out of this. Like me, I'm still like I grew up playing the first 3 Ninja Gaiden games. It's actually one of my like proudest things that I was able to beat those 3 games because they are ridiculously hard.
Way, for those you don't know, Ninja Gaiden 1 and Ninja Gaiden 2 were basically the Dark Souls of their day, and it was the originator of Get Good Scrub.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Yeah, and like even before that, the 2D games are considered to be some of the hardest games on the original Nintendo, and I'm excited. I'm so excited. I kind of hope they keep that difficulty intact, but I understand if they're going to give some more options for players that are kind of newish to the series, a little bit newer audience. Well, I do hope they make it hardcore for those of us that have been around since the beginning, though.
Well, here's the thing. They announced, I almost said Metal Gear Solid 4, Ninja Gaiden 4, but they also released today as a stealth drop a remaster of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black on Game Pass. And that's one of the things that it's multi-platform, by the way. It's going to be on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. But Koei Tecmo and the Ninja Gaiden series have always led on the Xbox. It would always get the Sigma version on PlayStation like a year later. So people are playing the remaster right now. Either they bought it or they're playing on Game Pass. So what happens is that people who want to get back into Ninja Gaiden or they want to learn about it, well, guess what? You can play the best game of the series right now, remastered.
Yeah, and that's exciting too, because like 3 Ninja Gaiden games in the same year, insane. Like this series, we have to remember, has been dormant for years before this. Like it's been a long time since the last.
Ninja Gaiden 3 did not rub fans the right way.
Right, and it's been a while. Like so, seeing them come back and go full throttle on this, I this year got so much better for gaming for me.
5 too. I mean,
yeah. This year just became so much better for me as far as gaming goes, as far as action gaming goes.
okay. The other notable game that was shown was by, damn it, I always want to say South of Midnight.
It's South of Midnight is correct.
Right. So that game is basically a game for the Deep South mythology. So you have giant crocodiles and talking catfish and stuff like that. It's interesting the graphic style they went with. They decided to go with something like stop motion animation that you'd find in The Nightmare Before Christmas, right? So it has that jerking stop motion animation feel to it. It looks very good. And the thing that I realized that it was is that it clicked for me in the middle. Of, oh, wait, this is Prince of Persia. This game is Prince of Persia, except set in the Deep South.
Yes, and it's kind of cool in that way because we don't get a lot of games that explore like Creole mythology. It's not a common subject in most of gaming, I would say. So to see a game that like thoughtfully and interestingly explores that is fun by itself. But then the game also just looks stylized as heck. Yeah. And most of the creatures and mythology and like mythological figures that we see in there are really, really interesting looking and really cool interpretations of that lore.
Yeah. And then the game that excited everybody a few months back, and that's Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Here's the thing. I knew it was going to be a lot like Final Fantasy, but after watching the developers and watching the characters, oh my God, this is the Frenchiest game that ever Frenched. This is so French. It's not even funny. Even that giant blob creature is supposed to be the most powerful creature. Speaks with a thick French accent and talks in French patois. It was hilarious.
It's a refreshing look because it's like you have these adults. They're all well into adulthood, going on this adventure, this quest to stop the witch that's drawing the numbers, and it's refreshing that they're not all these teenagers with huge weapons and what's it called, fan service,
over 33, and that's the entire point of the game. So Expedition 33. So what's happening here is that there's this witch. She's counting down numbers one by one, and everybody of that age at the end of the year dies. So at the beginning of the game, and we saw one woman just crumbles away. She was 34. So now the number is 33, and there's no one older than 33 going on this quest. And the object of the game is to break the curse before the end of the year.
Yes. And it's really interesting because I know there was a clip where they show previous expeditions. So even older people were going to trying to stop her. And now it's, down to, I guess, this age.
33, yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to this. And it's a turn-based game. And
yeah, and it takes a lot of Final Fantasy because you have those damage numbers that are exactly like a Final Fantasy game. Some people also said they reminded them of Lost Odyssey.
I don't know. That was more action, I think.
DJ, you want to say something?
Oh, it's just this is a game that has always kind of floated under my radar, and like every time I get a look at it, I feel like I get amnesia or something because it looks neat, it looks interesting, but like I swear, after I take my eyes off it, I forget about it for a while until somebody brings it up again.
Here's the thing. Everybody was bitching and complaining about Final Fantasy 16 being in real time, have attached themselves to this game because it's French fantasy for them, and it's like a return to complete turn-based. And that's what they really, really want, is a turn-based JRPG like in this case.
You know what this kind of reminds me of?
By the way, everybody's main character looked like Robert Pattinson with scruff.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is have you ever heard of the RPG Shadow Hearts?
Yeah.
Yes,
It reminds me a little bit of that style.
a little bit like Grimm, and
Uh-huh.
It reminded me of Final Fantasy, to tell you the truth.
not really
It's
getting
like,
the Final Fantasy vibe. I mean, like damage numbers are on a lot of games that aren't Final Fantasy. You know,
Yeah,
you got it.
the way they attack is very Final Fantasy. And
yeah,
also have the same. And we were talking about the Path of Exile 2's what's it called? Skill tree. You know how insane it is.
Yeah.
This one has a couple hundred perks.
right. And I guess what I'm getting at with that Shadow Hearts comparison is that the monsters that I see in like the trailers that we've had so far in the world around them is like you said, very French, but there's like this Cirque Magnifique kind of vibe to the monsters, the characters, and the way they fight. Like if you didn't know, Shadow Hearts takes place in around World War One, and it incorporates like stuff from that world. It incorporates stuff from mythology, like Geppetto is a character you run into and becomes a party member for you in the game, and it's stuff like that that makes me think of this makes me think of that in a lot of ways.
Just wondering, have you ever played Valiant Hearts?
I have not played Valiant Hearts.
Okay, it's an adventure that takes place in World War One.
Right. Yes, I remember that one.
It's not an RPG; it's an adventure game. But just hearing about World War One reminds me of that. And then we get to the thing that everybody was waiting for, and that's Doom: The Dark Ages.
That looks pretty badass. I mean, I'm all for the turn-based, but it looks like they're making a really fun game. And I liked how they explained what kind of combat they were going for. You're going to be like this tank, and you're getting various melee weapons, which I really like.
I took that as them saying, "Oh, okay, we get it. You don't like platforming in Doom. We're going to take away the platforming in Doom. We know it sucked. No one liked platforming in Doom.
But I just like the variety of weapons that they're introducing. You got the mace. You can use a shield.
Melee weapons.
3
different melee weapons.
Yes, 3 different melee weapons, and of course they have guns, very over-the-top guns. Just to look, I guess, badass and medieval.
And now the glory kills are going to be context sensitive. It depends on where you are, how you're doing it, that the glory kills happen. They also pointed out that they're making some references to the original Doom, like they have the Caco demons, in a row, and they're shooting fireballs at you, and that's how it was in the original Doom.
I feel like I was never all that interested in Doom Eternal because it felt like it missed the point on a lot of levels, but like it feels like they learned the correct lessons from that and are applying them to.
You become a gigantic mech.
Yeah, and like good for them because I don't think that they're. I would be very hesitant to believe that anything could match the sheer weight and surprise and awesomeness of the 2016 Doom. But this at least looks like it's going to get closer to that than Doom Eternal did.
I mean, no one was expecting that moment in which they said, "Oh, by the way, you can now get to be a kaiju and have kaiju battles with other monsters."
Yeah, this is going to be exciting for just the sheer amount of gameplay you get to do. The weapons while you're on the ground look fun to use and like responsive and reactive, between the shield, the skull crunch gun, the flail, and there's a couple other melee options as well. And then of course, like you said, the jumping into the mech and battling. And then as I mentioned previously, like there is a dragon-esque creature that you also jump on the back of at some points.
They said it's a cybernetic dragon.
Yes. I'm excited.
They also said that these are not going to be one-off things, that it's not going to be like one scene, okay, you're in the dragon now, we forget about the dragon for the rest of the game. No, they're going to iterate on the dragon and let you do different things with the dragon and stuff like that. So, yeah. It looks really good too. Again, Unreal Engine 5. Or is it? Or is it Lithtech? Is it Unreal Engine 5 or is it Lithtech? Oh.
No, I think it's EdTech.
Yeah, it's probably EdTech. Yeah. Still, it looks great. And that, of course, is also going to be multi-platform. So, we're going to talk about We're going to talk about the Switch 2 again. Retailers listed new 3D Mario and Legend of Zelda Remake / Remaster under 2025 games, and this comes to us from Games Radar. If you go to Newegg's website, by the way, do you ever shop at Newegg?
I bought a computer there.
Okay. I buy components there. I don't really buy a computer there. I buy components, like a new graphic card or stuff like that. I don't really buy my computers from them. But they have nice and expensive stuff. Oh, they have great prices on monitors too. I bought my first 4K television from them. Anyways, if you go to Newegg's website looking to buy a Nintendo eShop gift card, the product's description greets you with a short list of quote-unquote 2025 games, presumably an inspiration of what your gift card's recipient might want to spend their balance on. Other than existing Switch releases we already know about, like Xenoblade Chronicles 10, the Definitive Edition, Metroid Prime 4, Beyond, and Pokemon Legends Z to A, there's also mention of a new Mario Kart. We saw this actually from the Switch 2 demo. So that's not exactly a surprise. But it also lists a new 3D Mario and a Legend of Zelda Remake Remaster. Those have not been announced. Newegg does not offer any details on it, so it's not clear if they're supposed to be Switch 2 titles or just Switch titles. We're probably going to guess that, yes, it's probably going to be for the Switch 2. So this time around, it looks like they will probably have a launch Mario 3D title, something that hasn't happened since Super Mario Odyssey in 2017, aside from the sequel.
Yep, and it was a couple of years ago now that we had Super Mario Wonder. So it's about time. I'm ready for a new 3D Mario that's like on the level of Odyssey. I like side-scrolling Mario, but I also really love 3D adventuring Mario, and I'm ready. I'm ready to do more of that.
They already creeped everybody else out with New Donk City.
And I look at this Legend of Zelda Remaster remake news, and I think what would be the thing that would get people the most excited? I think if Nintendo were to tackle like a remake of Ocarina of Time, folks would probably lose their minds.
That would be pretty sweet.
You know what? I don't know. It wouldn't be Twilight Princess. I already think they already did that. A remake of that.
If you look at the way that people respond to Zelda games, like the one that a lot of them still consider to be like the high point of everything they played is usually Ocarina of Time. And I personally think that it's dated to the point where like it's hard for me to get into Ocarina of Time anymore. But like if it was to be a new version with just updated graphics, some tweaks on the controls. What's up?
Skyward Sword?
Skyward Sword I hate that game.
Link's Awakening.
Did they already remaster that? Or
Link's Awakening.
They did.
Link's Awakening was a complete remake. I meant there was like a...
They did remaster Skyward Sword for the Switch and got rid of the motion controls so you could actually control the sword with the joysticks.
Here are the non-open world games. I mean, you have Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom, right? So the last games that came out for Legend of Zelda were Skyward Sword HD, Link's Awakening, Twilight Princess HD, Majora's Mask 3D, A Link Between Worlds, and Wind Waker HD. And then you have Skyward Sword, Four Swords, and Ocarina of Time. I'm wondering... No, you may be right, actually. I'm wondering if they'll do a double thing of Ocarina of Time and then Majora's Mask.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because Majora's Mask came out in 2015. It's almost 10 years old. Well, it will be 10 years old, actually.
I really do feel like if they're going to get the most surprise out of everybody, it's an Ocarina of Time remake. But I also have a sneaking suspicion that Donkey Kong figures big into the Switch 2 plans this year because they have been putting Donkey Kong front and center in a lot of things lately, up to and including doing another remake of Donkey Kong Country Returns for like the nth time. But like, I feel like it's going to be an interesting year for Donkey Kong as well.
It could be. So it's 2025. And if I remember correctly, Super Mario World, the original 2D, came out in 1985. So I'm wondering if they're going to do a 40th anniversary for that. The original Super Mario Brothers. I believe it came out in 85. So we'll see. So anyways, we can move on to the next item. Take it away, TJ.
Horizon's unannounced MMO game has been quietly canceled from Eurogamer. An MMO based on Sony's Horizon IP has reportedly been canceled. We got first wind of a Horizon MMO in 2022 when a report stated that the project was in the works at Guild Wars NCSoft. At this time, a source familiar with both Sony and NCSoft said the two companies had tentatively agreed to pursue a business partnership in which NCSoft will create new games using Sony's promising game IP. A year later, in 2023, Sony and NCSoft publicly announced a strategic partnership designed to expand beyond console and broaden PlayStation's reach to a wider audience. While neither company referenced the Horizon as part of the announcement, it was widely believed that the series was a key part of the collaboration. Since then, we've heard little more, other than job listings shared in 2023, which appeared to confirm the Horizon MMO was in development with the codename Project Skyline, with the initial codename being Project H. And now it appears that the MMO has been canceled before it was even ever officially announced. A report by Korean publication MTN via Reset Era states work on Project H and a number of other projects has ceased following a feasibility review at NCSoft. Among them, H and J, that's a funny set of code names to put together, have already disappeared from the company's organizational chart, reads the translation of the report. The Horizon MMO was reportedly set for a PC release, or for a PC and mobile release. Eurogamer has reached out to NCSoft and Sony with regards to today's report. The news follows a report earlier in the month that Sony had canceled two more proposed live service games, one from Days Gone developer Bend, and one from Bluepoint. Bluepoint was reportedly developing a live service game within the God of War series. In the time since, Bend Studio has said it still plans on creating cool shit following the cancellation of its game.
Hey, remember when Sony said they were going to release 12 live service games in the span of 4 years?
I do, and it sounds like that plan didn't quite work out, and it sounds like they're backpedaling real hard now.
It started with The Last of Us, if I remember correctly, that the cracks started to be shown. And, I'm really happy that they realized before it was too late that no one wants to play a live service game, or at least they only can play one. And they're not going to pay much attention to a new one, no matter what the IP is. At least Traverse Tale is still making that Lego Horizon game, aren't they? I haven't heard much about it, but I don't think there's anything that's going to stop them from making a Horizon Lego game.
Yeah. I'm really, 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 really disappointed to hear that this is what Sony tasked Bend Studio with, because Bend Studio, if for those who don't know, made the Demon Souls remake. And people have been begging PlayStation to do a Bloodborne something for years. And
they've been begging to make a PC version of Bloodborne for years.
I understand that apparently Hayao Miyazaki is very precious about the Bloodborne IP, and if it's going to happen, he wants to have his hands in it and make sure it's perfect. I get that. I also want a 4K 60 frames per second version of Bloodborne. I really would like that. And I'm not alone.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Horizon MMO isn't the worst idea. It does have a set world. You just have to make it interesting. And the problem is that I don't know if they knew how to make it interesting, which is ironic to say about a game that involves robot dinosaurs.
Yeah. And Horizon feels like it would be a pretty ripe world for that kind of game. Like the climbing mechanics, the settlement mechanics, the hunting mechanics, the interesting weapons. And you could just make all sorts of different new machines that are anywhere from just like fodder at the lowest level to absolutely mammoth and super challenging for like groups of people. I think that the
Arc Systems Evolved already exists.
Yeah, but like Arc System Evolves is still more of a survival sandbox, and I would want something that like has the level of action and combat that Horizon has.
I guess. I don't know. At least maybe I think this has put the entire kibosh of Sony thinking that the live service is the way to make money off their heads. I think they may actually focus on single-player focused action games. I mean, look what just came out. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is going to be coming to PlayStation sometime in the next 2 months, has been a gigantic fucking hit, and it's a single-player game. So Sony may look at that and say, we used to do single-player games like that.
Yeah, and I think like with all these cancellations, we're starting to see like the move of Sony backing off this whole. Well, who knows? Like, there are so many big publishers out there that decided out of nowhere that like live service is absolutely what they need in their market, and I think it's taken some hard lessons for them to be like, maybe we're chasing trends a little too hard here.
Have you noticed something about live service games? The ones that people play come from the developers with very, very, very few people. Minecraft started with just a handful of people, like 6 or 7 people. Grounded was Obsidian, but it was like one of their little teeny weeny B teams. All the best live service games that people actually enjoy playing seem to be from small groups with a focus and something that they have something called passion for. I mean, why do people play Grounded? Because it's charming as fuck, and the developers who made it love that universe and didn't do it because they thought, let's see how much money we can get people to spend on it. Scott, why do you play Minecraft?
Because it's just fun, and I can do whatever I want in there, and it's just this ultimate sandbox game where I can play it any way I like, build whatever I want.
Even having the Microsoft version, they're not constantly shoving out shit for you to buy, are they?
No, I just play on the Java version.
Well, here's the thing. They don't. It's like they're not forcing you to purchase stuff. Like, remember Marvel's Avengers? It's like the vending machines practically shamed you if you didn't buy anything from them. It's like
playing Facebook games. They always incentivize you to buy and go through paywalls and buy stuff to speed stuff up, and it was just obnoxious.
And Microsoft said to Mojang, "You do you, just make us money."
Yeah.
We'll release the occasional DLC, but it's sort of like, this is cool. You don't need it, but it's cool if you want to get it. Minecraft is very Let the players make the games. They know what they're doing. Let them make a recreation of a cell phone in the game. Let them make a full recreation of the Starship Enterprise D.
Oh yeah. Just
let them do whatever the hell they want, and let them have their dark spaces. They
have a banned library. They have a library with all these banned books that you can go in and read them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy, all this kind of stuff they have.
And they also have the dark side, too. They have the NSFW version of Minecraft, in which you have a lot of competition, and it's really cutthroat. They had big news about it a couple of years ago, if you remember, about the way, I forgot the entire story, but it was like really dark shit that was going on there.
Are you talking about that one server?
Yeah, it was one or two servers that Microsoft allowed to have, anything goes there. It's basically the 4chan of Minecraft. But anyways, like I said, the live services that are successful are the ones that say, hey, enjoy our playground. I mean, look at Fallout 76. I mean, once Microsoft told the development team, stop that shit, just add stuff that people want. Oh, you want NPCs? Here's the NPCs. Oh, you want to be a ghoul? Well, now you can be a ghoul. It's like, just let the people have fun. It's a sandbox. It's called a sandbox for a reason, because people want to play in the sandbox. Just give them the tools and let them go nuts. And a lot of these live service games like Marvel's Avengers and Kill the Justice League, they don't do that. No, they say, hey, here's something that's going to make your weapon 0.53% better.
Yeah, nobody cares about that.
No one cares. That's one of the reasons why Diablo hasn't been doing as well as Paths of Exile 2 right now, which is exploding. Do we want to talk about Elon Musk in that game or no?
No.
No.
Fucking...
He doesn't deserve attention of any sort.
It's like...
Not even for a second.
It's like, don't pretend you know the game if you never play it.
I wouldn't care that he... I wouldn't care that he pays people to play the game for him if he didn't always claim to be the best in the world at it.
Yeah, it's the fact that he's lying about it. It's like don't
I started
lie.
playing Minecraft and I started bragging. Look, this is a yellow rock and I mined it. Isn't that cool? And people saying, "Yeah, bullshit. I don't care. We can get plenty of gold if we want." No,
and
are you getting a purple shiny thing?
And everybody already should have known that Elon Musk was bad at games when he showed off his Elden Ring build, and it was just a fat rolling mage that, like, just the most nonsensical build that you could possibly come up with for a FromSoft game.
I don't know. There are mage builds, but I get what you're saying.
He had 2 shields on. He had 2 shields on, and he had, heavy armor on as a mage. A spell-singing mage. It made no sense.
I didn't see that video yet. But, when you start opening your mouth, you better be careful about what comes out of it.
Or you'll remove all doubt.
Gamers, and this is good and they're bad, they will call you out on that shit. They will call you out and they will be harsh. They don't care what political affiliation you are if you start fronting like that. There's a reason why Billy Mitchell is the #1 villain in the video game space right now. And you know what? I think Elon Musk is trying to be more villainous than Billy Mitchell. And we didn't think that was going to be possible.
They should join up and sell barbecue sauce.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if Billy Mitchell is still wearing that outfit. For those who don't know, he wears a Stars and Stripes suit sort of thing.
It was almost always he always had that forever. And then I think he upgraded to the full suit.
What was the name of that documentary? The King of Kong? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, King of Kong.
Yeah. I haven't seen that documentary, only in bits and pieces. I really should check out that. So that's where you're first introduced to Billy Mitchell, who actually seems like he's enjoying being a villain in that, But we don't mind you being a villain. Just don't cheat.
Yeah, he's very precious about it too. He's very litigious about people going at him over it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't care if you're a villain. Just don't cheat at it, We don't mind assholes. It's fun to root against somebody, but only if they know what they're doing, right? And I'm pretty sure it'll be odd to watch it because at the time of the King of Kong, Billy Mitchell was considered a legitimate player, if I remember correctly. He wasn't, suspicious. Oh, he's just really good at Donkey Kong. Oh, he's just really good at other minor arcade games that I used to pop my quarters in.
That's the other side of it, is that he didn't have to do anything weird like that. He's actually that good at the game, but he just he allegedly cut some corners. And it's why would you do that, man? You have the skill. Just run it like normal. Just run it like you do and be legitimate about it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the community can get overbearing on people who cheated. I saw I watched a couple of videos about civilization cheaters, and for those of you who wonder how did they cheat, well, what they would do is they would have the seed before the game and see where all the huts were, and where all the locations were, so there was no fog of war for them. And the way they got caught was that, wait a minute, why is he making a beeline there? There should be. How does he know if there's anything? Oh, wait, there's a hut there, and they say they would often get 50%, 60% of the huts, that sort of thing. Speed run cheaters.
That's why most of them would turn the goody huts off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about speed run cheaters, but people treat it like serious business. Oh wait, look, I'm talking to someone who worked at Twin Galaxies here.
Yep, and it was a mess. It was a mess dealing with that.
Since the 80s, Twin Galaxies made itself the arbiter of video game world video game records since the 80s. In fact, as a matter of fact, guess was one of the people who was one of the leaders in, I forgot which one it was, but Cliff Bleszinski actually was on a leaderboard for something having to do with Mario as the best in the world. Cliffy B, little thing. He actually won an award. I have to look it up. I'm not going to look it up now. Anyways, getting back to live service games, the main point is that people are only going to play one live service game, or maybe two at the very most, because people have something called time, and they can't expend all that time. Right now, I got back into Star Trek Timelines. That's good enough for me. It's a cell phone game, but still. And of course, Scott has his live service game. We don't need to say which game it is. Although, would you consider Animal Crossing a live service game?
No, because they stopped. I mean, you could play it. Yeah, you know what? No, you could play it at any time.
Yeah.
So it's not live service because if you have the cart or even just the digital, you could play any of the Animal Crossings.
Here's the thing.
You could play the N64 one or the 3DS one or the GameCube. That's what it was. The GameCube one.
Microsoft decided they were going to dump Minecraft, and people could have their own servers. Minecraft would have to play. People would have their own servers and
privately, yeah.
So I don't know. Minecraft is a live service game, but it's not one of those games that would die if Microsoft decided to pull the plug.
No, people would just mod it. I mean, they already do, but they have to wait for Mojang to update, and then they have to update their mods to go with the current version of that game because they change coding so much. Sometimes it breaks things, it breaks mods, so they constantly have to fix those mods. So if they stop developing, then the mods could just make their stuff and not have to worry about Mojang breaking their mods over and over again.
The only thing that's depressing is when a live service game goes down and it's gone for good, and people who are actually enjoying that game can't play it anymore.
Right.
That's the depressing thing.
It is.
Anyways, we're going to move on to the next item. A new rumor suggests that at least 5 Xbox One games may be coming to the next generation Nintendo console. Over on YouTube, Spanish leader Exestis claims that Microsoft. I think we talked about this last week. We're going to go over it again, though. Now that you have the two of you here at the same time, they claim that it's going to be Fallout 4, Halo: The Master Chief Collection, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and Starfield. Now, if it's coming to Nintendo, I have to imagine it's also coming to PlayStation. But Microsoft has always been very chummy with Nintendo. What we have to think is, okay, they're bringing these games to the Switch 2. Are they able to? Is it going to be a game in which you have to stream it? And by the way, you have to stream Flight Simulator even on the Xbox Series S because it is a beast of a game. So I'm pretty sure you'll have to stream Flight Simulator. But the other games, I'm wondering if the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to have bigger hard drive space this time.
That's true. I assume the processor will be better or faster. I don't know if Fallout 4 would play on that.
DJ?
Yeah, so the biggest thing here is probably Halo, right? Like Halo the newest one that came out is like what people would kind of want to see on there.
It's
I don't know if they would actually
the
do
collection. Which is 1, 2, 3 Reach and ODST.
Microsoft Flight Simulator seems highly ambitious and probably not likely, in my opinion, unless it was like even as a
stream games on Steam. I mean, on the Switch, you know, so this is probably going to be a stream.
Even if it was a stream game, though, Microsoft Flight Simulator, like that's asking for a lot of bandwidth.
Probably going to be on PlayStation then.
It's very interesting if they did it. I do want to see what comes of this though, because that was a thing that they were talking about a while back, like that they do want to move more of their games onto other platforms, and Nintendo was the one they were talking about the most because that was how they kind of argued that they're not a monopoly in acquiring Activision.
Here's the thing though. Someone I spoke to who's in the industry says that exclusivity is going away. In like a few years, there'll be very few exclusive games. I mean, maybe Nintendo will be a holdout, but there's going to be a lot of games that are on PlayStation that will be coming to Microsoft and vice versa. And now we can see Microsoft's strategy here with Game Pass, right? Yeah, they're going to release Starfield. If they release Starfield on PlayStation, it's like, yeah, but you got to spend $70 on it. If you have Game Pass, hey, it's part of your service. Doom is coming out on PlayStation. That's fine. Spend $70 or $80 on it because if you're on Game Pass, hey, you got it. It's part of your subscription. And this is one way I think Microsoft may be kneecapping the competition. Sort of like saying, yeah, you can play it there, but, if you have Game Pass, you can play it on your TV. You don't even need a console.
Yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see if they're doing like if they do go through with these Xbox games and they do them stream style. It'll be interesting to see how they handle online and how they handle the bandwidth, because that's the biggest issue I see in that.
Remember the rumor also that Final Fantasy 7 and 16 were not only coming to Xbox, they're coming to the Switch too as well. And those are beefy games that are going to require a lot of hard drive space. So we'll see if they've streamed those too. You need your mic on.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see for sure. Like I want to see more confirmation of this, but if we get to that point, then it's going to be quite the biggest challenge, I think, is going to be seeing how they handle just connecting in and keeping the game stable.
Remember, Sony never wanted to release games on PC, but Microsoft was making so much money, and not even on the Windows Store, on Steam, which is technically a competitor with the Windows Store, a direct competitor, in fact, for PC games. So Sony saw Microsoft making bank releasing Halo on Steam. It's like now Sony said, oh, shit, we got to put Spider-Man on PC and Horizon on PC and all these other games on PC just to compete, They started to say, well, we'll just keep console exclusivity. And now Microsoft is saying, console exclusivity? What's that? Our first-party games? Well, we're going to put some of them on the other consoles. I mean, they've done it in the past. They've done it with Ori and Zoo Tycoon and all these other games, not their major tentpole games. But I'm going to tell you something. Imagine if the new Gears game is released on PlayStation a year after release. That's going to send a real message that, yeah, console exclusivity don't exist with us. There's no point to it. It's all about making money. And the way they're going to say, why not buy? Well, if you have Game Pass, it's a subscription, $20 a month, you get it for free.
It'll be and it sounds from what I've been hearing lately, it sounds like they could use a little bit of a shift in strategy regarding Game Pass, because as good of a deal as it can be, it doesn't sound like they're selling it as well. It doesn't sound like it's catching on as well as they themselves would like it to.
Well, I mean, this is supplementing that income.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, they have the attitude that, you know what? We get more money from Game Pass than we do from physical sales, right? And if we can get you to play it on your cell phone without needing an Xbox, then it's a win for us, because that's lowering the barrier of entry, isn't it? You don't have to spend $300 to $500 on a console. Just use the that thing you spent $1,000 on already, or use your PC screen, or that TV.
Yeah, the more I agree with you there. The more screens and the more like accessories they're capable of putting Game Pass on continues to be like, I mean, you're just expanding the platforms to which you can do more stuff with it.
Let's talk about something else before we leave, and that is this is the year, I think it's in October, in which they will completely end support for Windows 10. Here's something unusual about it, just so you know. When Windows 7 was discontinued, it only was like 30% of the market. Right now, Windows 10 is over 50% of the market still.
I'm still on Windows 10 because apparently my computer can't upgrade because it doesn't have that security chip.
I'm just saying, it usually a browser, an operating system that was still more than half your customer base, you would say you would continue to support it. But I think Microsoft is trying to force people to get Windows 11 to get a little more money.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. At this point, Windows is an ecosystem, and the whole point is building towards the next part of that ecosystem for which they can charge you another subscription fee.
Yeah. See, here's the thing people have to understand about Microsoft is that while the perception is that, they're only 27% of the video game market, and Nintendo is 27 also, maybe inching towards 28. Microsoft is also a far bigger company than either of them, because right now their main way of making money is cloud servers. And a lot of what the Xbox is doing right now is taking advantage of the cloud. That's what Game Pass wants to do, is make use of that cloud that they're spending all this thing on. So they're slowly but surely moving video gaming to the cloud. Not in 10 years, perhaps not in 20, and in 30, I'll bet your ass that almost every single game is going to be cloud-based. No physical.
We're
not
definitely
even downloading.
If we want to get to that point, we're definitely going to need some better internet infrastructure then, because it's not very good in some places of the world.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. Microsoft also are allowing hard drives of 16 terabytes or more. And the reason for that is not that you want to play your games off it. No, what you do with it is that you put all your games there as sort of an alternative to downloading online. You download from the hard drive. So instead of if you're downloading, say, Halo, instead of when you're installing Halo, instead of installing it from online, you install it from your hard drive. So that's one way I think they're getting around the fact that people have shitty internet. Is like, well, if you have shitty internet, guess what? Just put everything on that hard drive, and when you want to put it onto your main drive, your main SSD, download it from there instead of downloading it from online. Because all you really need is an online check, Because a lot of places like Steam, they allow you to play offline. You just got to check in once every few weeks, just to verify you, and that's something they can do here. But what I'm going to say is if they're going to do that, what I want is a better EULA that says I own my fucking game forever. Forever. You can't take it away from me. You can't discontinue it. It belongs to me, and I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. I can mod it. I can make my own servers for it. I can do anything I want. All you did was sell me the game. Just like if you sell me a car, I can do whatever the fuck I want with that car, right? It may be out of warranty if I do it, but that's the same thing with a video game. If you fuck up your video game, well, guess what? You're out of warranty. But if I own it, I own it. That's what I want. If it's going to be all digital, that's fine. If you want it just all streaming, fine. But what I want is to own that game and never, ever, ever have it let go. One of my favorite games is Droplets, and there's only way I can play it is a public website which actually has it, and it's not as good as having it on the Xbox. A lot of these delisted games I love. I can't play Pandemic. It's delisted, and even if I owned it, I couldn't play it. You know?
Yeah, that is extremely
that's why we
fun.
have that movement, Stop Killing Games.
Yeah. But this is more than that. This is more of ownership, right? And at some point, there's already started some challenges. I think it was in France, in which people are saying, if I paid for it, I am not renting it.
Yeah.
You know,
the problem with that, though, Jonah, is what we were talking about before, is that if games keep moving towards cloud-based services, it's moving more towards the situation where, like, they're taking that ownership away from us.
That's what I'm saying, is that if my game is only on the cloud, fine, but I own it. And if for whatever reason your cloud goes down, I have the right to be able to download it and keep it. By the way, Steam's back in 2003, 2004, and I was one of the first people to have Steam. They did promise, if for whatever reason Steam fails, we will allow you to download all your games to physical media. Right? Same thing here. But like I'm saying, you know, if I buy a game, I own it. And here's the funny thing is, even if you had a physical media, if you ever watch your PlayStation, if you look at a PlayStation 1 disc or a Nintendo SNES disc, it'll say, actually, you don't own that code, we do. We own the code inside that cartridge. It's actually part of the EULA from back then. You know? It's wild shit. But the thing is, they couldn't take the cartridge away from you, could they?
No.
Just funny is that all the physical media from the past and the NES cartridges may outlast the games that we have now.
Yeah, I just think that, like, as much as I agree with you, short of legal authorities stepping in and like creating legislation that helps make that happen, companies are probably not going to do that on their own.
Here's the thing. If one country does it, and if France does this, they have to change because it's the EU.
Well, there's good old games. They allow you to keep the installers and patches for those games.
Yeah, but we're talking about I'm talking about games now. Here's the thing.
I'm talking about games now. Like if I bought Witcher 3, I have the installer and I can put it on a CD or whatever if I want.
It's the vast minority. Most people are not going to buy from GOG. Also, GOG's been doing some shady shit these days as well. Just look it up, and you're going to see they have their own problems right now. All I'm saying is that Europe said you cannot have proprietary power outlets anymore, Apple. You can't have that lightning shit anymore, Apple. You're going to have to turn to USB-C as a standard. And guess what? Apple is being forced to go into USB-C. You don't have a choice.
And I unfortunately think that's kind of what has to happen with gaming too, because if the EU didn't do that to Apple, they wouldn't have done that. They would have kept the lightning thing port on there.
Proprietary shit. They want a proprietary. But here's the thing. If the EU decides, hey, listen, you know what? We're making it so that if you buy a game, you own it. And all of a sudden, you'll have a two-tier system, which the EU has one thing and everybody else has another thing, and it's kind of expensive, right? That's why when EU said you have to use USB-C, Microsoft, Apple wasn't going to say, okay, we'll have USB-C in Europe and Lightning in the US. That's expensive. That's expensive to have you one thing and another thing, each in different territories. No, just make it all one thing and boom, you're fine. So hopefully if the EU starts saying you must own what you buy, right? By the way, That's how we have digital refunds now. Remember how impossible it was conceptually? You can't refund a digital game. Well, we do now. If you don't play it much, if you play it for less than an hour or whatever codicils they have, you can now refund a digital game you're not pleased with. Which, by the way, you can't do if you get physical media. Once you buy that physical media, what are you going to do? Return it to the thing? They're not going to accept it back. Or at least not anymore. They used to. But I'm just saying, refunding a digital game was pie in the sky, and now it's expected. Right? Scott, TJ, did you ever think you'd be able to refund a digital game 10 years ago?
No.
And now you can.
I mean,
I hope you're right.
Small window to do that, but yeah.
Well, that's just it. I mean, it has to be a small window because then people could really game the system and like play 20 hours. I don't like this. Let me refund it.
Yeah.
Bullshit. You played it for 20 hours. You liked it, or at least you tolerated it enough to play 20 hours.
Right.
Sucks to be you. Also, some games are like 2 hours long.
Some of them are, yeah.
So you can't. It's like you have to prove that you really did not want to. You made a mistake.
Yeah.
And some of those games you have to not even play it at all. Just oops. Sorry, wrong game.
Yeah, I did play one, I think 1 or 2 years ago that was very glitchy, very bad, and I tried to get past this part and I just couldn't, and I refunded it because it was an hour in, and it's like, well, better decide if I'm gonna wait to see if they fix this or return it now, and I decided to return it then. And
because when I returned, what was the name of that game? It was like a new version of Dwarf Fortress. I think you know the game I'm talking about. It was recently released, something 2. And I could not get past a certain part. And you can't just say, I played it for this long, I want to return it. No, you'll put a ticket in and you'll explain why you want to return it. I said, for me, it's unplayable. I can't play this game. It's not my fault. I wanted to play it, but I couldn't play it. And they gave me the refund because I showed I just can't play this. So, but like I said, digital refunds. Now all you have to do is have some pissed off country say, when you buy a game, you own it forever, or at least if it's not a rental like Game Pass. So,
yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Like, I agree with you. I hope that there is a bigger push towards consumer protections and consumer rights, especially in an increasingly digital age.
Unfortunately, we have.
I don't think it's something that the companies will do on their own.
Unfortunately, it's something that the U.S. government is not going to do, no matter who's involved.
Yeah, they already turned down one of the movements to get digital libraries to be able to preserve games, and they were like, no, we don't believe you, and it'll be used for recreation, and they rejected it.
It's a game. It's supposed to be recreational.
I know that, but it's like,
I'm just saying,
be able to preserve these games and not just watch them go be deleted. It's crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, unfortunately, we're going to be dependent on the EU body legislating this shit. Because once the EU legislates it, then we have to follow along. That's why once the EU's approved of the Microsoft Activision merger, it's like the EU said it's going through, and it's like the US went, oh shit, we had all this shit planned and it just failed. Sorry, Sony. There was so much collaboration with Sony with the FCC was just embarrassing. And my point is, FCC, you're aligning yourself with a foreign company who does not get the United States as many jobs as American company can. Anyways, now now net neutrality is in the kitty again. We have to wait until the next administration to get it back. Okay, we're not gonna get depressed now. Look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with this industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy your feedback. So please comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us at iTunes. Leave some iTunes comments. You can find me at Twitter, not at Twitter, but at Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
And you can find me at the Shard the Sage on Blue Sky.
You often go there because I haven't seen anything. You post?
No, I haven't posted. But I do follow. I've actually commented to TJ.
Follow things, yeah.
I see Scott like and share some of my articles sometimes.
Yep.
So
I know there's some people who don't go on to post anything. They just go to check out articles and repost them.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
I've turned into a lurker. I never thought I would, but I am.
You're not a lurker you're only a lurker if you don't retweet things or share things.
Okay.
Although I will say I can tell immediately if someone's a titty bot.
Oh yeah, that's always easy.
Share one article, have no followers, just following a bunch of people. And that's a titty bot. And anyways, that's why I only have 400 followers. I think half of my 8,000 on Twitter were all titty and crypto bots who were following me. That's why people love Blue Sky, by the way. There's actual engagement there. Twitter, there wasn't any real engagement.
Yeah, it didn't feel that way there.
Yeah. Anyways, we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.